Hello guys, today we will learn about diabetic nephropathy. Diabetic nephropathy is a kidney disease which is mainly seen in diabetic patients who have uncontrolled diabetes. And let me tell you, diabetic nephropathy is one of the leading cause of chronic kidney diseases in the world. Now let us see the pathogenesis of the disease. The pathogenesis of the disease is mainly related to chronic hyperglycemia, which involves mainly three things: the effects of soluble factor, that is the first one, including the growth factors, the angiotensin 2, the third one will be endothelin, and the fourth one will be advanced glycation end products. All these causes pathogenesis of the disease. The second thing is alteration in the glomerular microcirculation. Changes in the circulation in the glomeruli causes this disease to appear, including glomerular hyperfiltration, and the second one is due to glomerular hyperperfusion, and the third one will be due to increased glomerular capillary pressure. This is the second category causing the pathogenesis of the disease. The third one is mainly the structural changes which happens during the disease in the glomerulus, which has a few components including the increased extracellular matrix which appears during the course of the disease causing damage to kidneys. There is thickening of the basement membrane of the glomeruli, and the third is the mesenchymal expansion which appears to be taking part in the pathogenesis, and lastly the fibrosis part which is seen in this diabetic nephropathy. So all these factors are responsible for the pathogenesis of the disease, but exact pathogenesis is still not clear. Now let us see about the natural history of the disease. The natural history of the disease means how this disease progress through the time, through the timeline. So approximately in the first year after the onset of type 2 or type 1 diabetes, there is glomerular hyperperfusion, and then there is renal hypertrophy. Both of these factors will cause initially in the first year to increase the glomerular filtration rate, that is the GFR. Then in the first 5 years of the disease, there will be basement membrane thickening, and there will be glomerular hypertrophy, and there will be mesenchymal volume expansion. So after this, all these three factors will cause the glomerular filtration rate to return back to normal. So they will return back to normal, and then after 5 to 10 years of the onset of the disease, there will be a small amount of albuminuria which will be seen in the patients. Now this small amount of albuminuria is right now, uh, as per ADA, calculated by seeing the spot urine albumin creatinine ratio should be greater than 30. Previously it was microalbuminuria and macroalbuminuria, but this concept has been removed. So after the marked albuminuria, there will be a decrease in GFR, and then the changes will be irreversible in the kidney. So as per the ADA, in the spot urine, albumin to creatinine ratio should be greater than 30. Now how will you screen for the disease or screen for albuminuria? So first you have to test for albuminuria and GFR, which can be tested by spot urine, as I told you before. If it's positive, you have to exclude other conditions, mainly including hypertension and any other condition which causes albuminuria to occur. Then repeat albuminuria test within 3 to 6 months if all the if all the conditions are excluded. After repeating the test within 3 to 6 months, if 2 out of 3 tests come positive for albuminuria, that is greater than 30, then treat the patient, and if it's no, then again test albuminuria and test for GFR. You can test albuminuria and GFR annually, and if the test is negative in the first time only, then again you can test in the next year for the albuminuria in diabetic patients. So now let us see the treatment of diabetic nephropathy. The first main thing is controlling of blood sugar levels, and the second is strict BP control. The strict BP control should be achieved by drugs so that the BP should be less than 140 by 90 mm of Hg. In patients with increased CVD and CKD risk, the blood pressure target should be less than 130 by 90 as per Harrison 20th edition. So this BP control can be taken care of by various drugs including the ACE or ARB, ACE inhibitors or ARBs. So actually they have no benefit prior to albuminuria, but if we are not able to control the BP with ACE inhibitors or ARBs, then we can give the patient a calcium channel blocker, mainly of non dihydropyridine class, the beta blockers and the diuretics. So these can help in reducing the BP as well as albuminuria. We have to treat dyslipidemia as well during the course of the disease, which itself may cause increased CVD and the risk of CKD. Drug doses should be re-evaluated in the case of diabetic nephropathy because drugs are released slowly from the creatinine. Metformin is contraindicated, and sulfonylureas, mainly long acting, have increased risk of hypoglycemia for the patient at that time if they are not properly re-evaluated. The doses of insulin is also reduced, and the dose of insulin should be titrated. As per the ADA, the protein intake for the patients should be 0.8 milligram per kg of body weight per day. That this amount of protein can be taken from the patient. So the few points that should be properly noted in this is, the first one is, smoking will accelerate the decrease in renal function. So quit smoking. The second point to be noted is 20 to 40% of all diabetic patients land up to diabetic nephropathy. It's not important that everybody will land, but 20 to 40% will land up or may land up. Then diabetic nephropathy, people who are having diabetic nephropathy almost always have diabetic retinopathy, but not 100%, almost always have. The fourth point is, in this condition there is mostly type 4 RTA, the RTA acidosis, renal tubular acidosis, which may cause hyperkalemia and acidemia if not managed properly. And patients who are prone for nephrotoxicity during this condition, mainly by the radio contrast agents, should be well hydrated. Before and after the exposure of the contrast agent, and after that the serum creatinine should be monitored for 24 to 88 hours. So that is all, a brief lecture. Thank you.